Hello and welcome back to the Full 40 with Willie and Trevor. Um, yeah, we have a new coach. It finally happened. We've been prognosticating. We're also a week late on it, but like
This
whatever.
is not breaking news.
Yeah,
We're
we're not.
just lazy last week. Some things life got in the way, so we're back.
Kevin Ward was still going to be here a week later. If he
Yeah,
wasn't, that'd be a great
he
podcast.
thought about the A&M job, I heard, but yeah, no, he yeah,
Little
so
musical chairs.
yeah, Willard officially hired by Villanova. I don't think they had the official press conference yet.
No
Um,
official press conferences
but
happened.
like, yeah,
He's done. He's been doing media
the deal's
circuit
done. He's
stuff.
been
Yeah.
doing weird media stuff.
Yeah.
I think he went to see the women's team play
Yep.
in the WBIT,
I believe that's what it was.
I think.
Could
I
be
don't know.
Maybe in the W.
It wasn't marketed very well to me, so I don't know. And then I think he was in Vegas for a short time to at least be with the men's team a little bit when
Yep.
Nardi was taking them through the crown. Yeah, and now it's just he wouldn't answer questions about the coaching staff or the team's future.
We
Out
had
of
those questions answered today, though.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't. I guess we might as well start with that.
Yeah, it's the most recent news.
Yeah, so Nardi announced that he will not be returning to Villanova to coach next season, as well as
Jamie Young.
Jamie Young. He tweeted like, "Thanks for a great 9 months, Nova," which is like my favorite. Nardi had a video put up on his Instagram. I don't know if it was before or after Zagoria tweeted that he wouldn't be back. So I don't know if that was.
I think in terms of timeline or timing, it was posted after, but I don't know if he filmed it before.
So the way I looked at that was I don't know if everybody necessarily wanted this news out, but like it seemed pretty quickly. He was like, "All right, well, I got to post something now."
Yeah.
Admirable job in the crown. They look. Colorado game was fun. Colorado's a horrible basketball team. I think I watched the second half of that game and the first half of I watched the whole USC game and then the first half of the UCF game. But look, yes, we won 2 games in a row and then should have won the third one, but blew it at the end. Like this, to me, the team played the exact same way it did all season. Handled a horrible opponent in Colorado. Like that is your, hey, we just shelled Seton Hall type of game. Came back in a difficult spot to beat a better team, but still, so that was like a Butler comeback victory. And then blew a game that we should have won. That is any game you can say in the last 3 years to me. So it's kind of a microcosm of how each category of games went in my eyes, at least for this season.
That's definitely kind of a fair assessment. I think first off, I don't want to spend more than like 5 minutes talking about the crown because like at the end of the day,
it was games that were meaningless and happened.
It was meaningless, but like I think we saw them play a little bit like looser. Or maybe we felt looser because it had nothing to. It meant absolutely nothing.
Yeah, Eric got the scoring title,
which is
for the men's team, which is cool. Wuga showed out. The guys that were, hoping to impress scouts and stuff played well, I think.
Yeah. Besides Eric in the last game.
Yeah, I mean,
even South Carolina, USC, but
yeah, it's again, it was kind of a microcosm of the
season. Yeah, that was completely my talking season.
So, Nardi put some moves on some sitting head coaches. I guess you could, there were some halftime adjustments, stuff like that came out pretty well, and definitely nice to get that win over USC. So hopefully he lands somewhere.
I do want to just kind of give Mike his 30 seconds of here. Like he did, was put in
awkward spot.
Awkward spot. Yeah, I was gonna say bad, but it was more awkward than anything.
Yeah.
Has been with the program. I don't remember when he came back, like 2015, when he like officially got on the staff, something like that, maybe a little bit later. But obviously, he has been in the program since the early.
2018.
It was 2018. Okay, I could have.
So did he come back after Baker
18-19
left?
season. He coached after he went to high school.
So he came back in 2018. It's just been like on the bench, been a good coach for us. It's been a program guy. I want to give him his flowers. He did a great job there. It is, and we'll get more into this. It is a new era of Villanova basketball. Like if Jay Wright leaving to Kyle Neptune was like it's different, and we thought it was a new era. This is whatever we see with Kevin Willard is going to be different than what we've seen the last 30 years. 25, but like whatever.
Yeah, but look, it's not like coaches aren't going to value the same things that Jay Wright valued. Like it's going to
No,
be different in that, yeah, we might not have program legends or our favorite players on the staff from, the early 2000s.
yeah.
That's what I look at as different.
Well, I want to double click into that eventually, but what I'm kind of getting at is, and I think Kevin Willard even said it. He said like it's going to look different. But like the core tenets of play hard, play together, yada yada yada, maybe even attitude will still be here, so we can still expect that, but we're going to play
Yeah.
different. It's just going to feel different. Like even Kyle wasn't that different than Jay because he was a Jay disciple. Like he learned from Jay. So like a lot of the stuff was there were some tweaks, there were some differences, but it wasn't like we were watching a completely different brand of basketball. I'd imagine we're going to watch a team that looks more like this last Maryland team, maybe some of the better Seton Hall teams. That's what we've seen from Willard. We'll also see once we were able to fill out the team with whoever we get, which we also like for like at the minimum, we need a new starting five. Maybe one of the freshmen we have takes a leap and like is worth being a starting five, but on paper right now in the transfer portal, we're going to need a new starting five. Yeah, so we're going to see a completely different experience, different team. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, but again, I don't think that should scare people necessarily. Like Jay's system worked at its best when we had Julius Erving Award winners, National Player of the Year candidates. Like, you're running the Jay Wright system that was perfected with Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, Dante, all these legends with, Jameer Brickus and Jordan Longino, and like it. So it's good that it's going to be a different look.
Yeah,
I just like I said, I don't think people need to freak out when they hear it's going to be different, just because like
no,
people are saying, is attitude going to come off the wall? Maybe, but like probably not. Like all those core principles are still things that most programs, like you're telling me there's programs out there that value hard work and playing together. Like, oh, tell me more. Like these are, core principles that are going to remain core principles.
One thing you said earlier that I wanted to go back to was the having program legends. That's one thing that I think would be beneficial for Kevin to still do. And I don't even think like Javon Pinkston is actively on the coaching staff. I think he's like player development.
He's in that like
staff.
I don't even think it's not even like a Dobo job. It's just it's kind of like they've used that
player
position
development
for
or whatever. Yeah.
In the last few years. It's been guys that are like wrapping up their playing careers and like having a pit stop before they go and do their next thing. So I don't even know if that's more than like a 1 year situation.
But what I'm getting at is like he's already here and would probably be a very easy like, hey, we're going to keep you on and just keep someone to do it. He's had when he was at Maryland, he's had Maryland people on the staff. He's had obviously had Seton Hall players come back on staff. Like that is something that I would expect in year one that you get one person, maybe two. Like
I think I saw before we went on. I think I saw a Dylan Johnson tweet that was saying like, okay, Nardi not returning, Jamie Young not returning, Dwayne Anderson and Ash Howard question marks, but apparently some people have been asked to stay. So I don't know if it's one of them or like you said, like somebody like Pinkston or the basketball ops, who knows who is asked to stay. But I'm sure it'll come out the next few days. I think
Yeah.
they're just kind of letting these guys announce when they want to, and I'm sure when Willard has his staff complete, that'll be announced. Might be whenever they have the official presser, which for some reason I think is April 9th, but I'm not entirely sure. I can't remember. They like had posted a link and then took it down, and then I don't know. But yeah, we'll see. It'll be different, but that doesn't necessarily mean bad.
No, not at all.
As like, you know, ask anybody else. Yes, we absolutely want something different than we've seen the last 3 years.
And so we can talk about the process of hiring Willard and everything. Like, I think there was about a 2-week period where it was like, all right, it's kind of Willard or what the hell are we doing now? But overall, we got the guy that it seems that we wanted the whole time. I don't know how much it was we were really, but it seems like he was the guy that we were in on the whole time. There was conversation around.
I would say we got one of our top 3 candidates.
Yeah.
Is probably the safe way to say it.
There was conversation around Patino potentially wanting us, and we never really offered. Like whatever it may look like. We got our guy. I think it's been funny seeing the Maryland fans react to this because we should talk about this. He handled it poorly, objectively.
Yeah,
he handled it poorly. He
I don't care.
He could have been more forthright.
He'll probably do it to us too.
And that's the thing. And that's kind of where it'll probably happen to us. Maybe not. Like maybe we're the max that he gets, or like who knows? Like
so,
if he gets a bigger offer, like I mean,
I think we probably said this, but yeah, and to your point just now, like if he does this to Maryland's whole thing was like, you know, don't get too comfortable. 4 years, it'll be the same thing. And it's like, honestly, if he's getting, you know, a call from like, I'm not saying Kentucky, but like Kentucky,
Kansas might,
you know,
Self's getting up there.
Kansas, Kentucky, Michigan State, something, you know, I don't know, one of these bigger SEC, like an SEC school or a higher, you know, a better Big Ten school, stuff like if he's getting calls from them, then that's probably a good sign.
Yeah.
For how Nova's been doing. That means he's been making tournaments and is recruiting and still putting good teams on the floor. So like, fine, you know, if it's 4 years, it's 4 years. I don't know if we know how long the contract is.
I haven't heard any contract details
because we're a private school. I don't think those necessarily get out until somebody says it by accident.
Yeah, I think it's just like it's interesting because he handled it poorly.
He didn't handle Seton Hall departure great either.
Yeah, so it's a history of it. But at the end of the day, and I'm not saying this to this is not news to anybody who's listening to this. We know where we were at. We know how the last 3 years have been, regardless of our feelings of Willard. Because once again, when the process started, he wasn't on my list. And then I heard the name, I had a visceral no reaction. And over time, I was like, I guess this might just be the best that we can do at this moment. And getting behind it, Seton Hall is a tough place to build a basketball program at. Like it's in general. And it's definitely tougher in the NIL world. He did a good job at Seton Hall, like consistently had teams that like, let's not lie, we all fucking hated his teams. Like they were good teams, they played us well. And then got to Maryland, had a good year his first year, a not good year, and then a Sweet 16 that I guess was kind of overshadowed by his departure and how he handled things and all that stuff. Not good, but we know what we're getting into in this situation. And I don't even think it's a bad situation we're getting into. I think it's a good situation. I'm expecting like tournaments, like whatever the team looks like. I'm expecting to get back into the tournament in the very near future, and just to be like, okay, Villanova's a 5 seed, Villanova's a 7 seed, and we're in the mix. And then maybe in a special year we're a 2 or 3. Like who knows? That's what I would expect to see from us. I think overall, taking the process as a whole, overall, I think it's a good hire. As much as like I didn't want Willard, and I think it was just like a natural reaction to like hearing Willard.
Everybody, you hear Kevin Willard and you think like, oh my god, like, you know, it's the same thing. And not that he was on our list, but like somebody said, anytime somebody would say Chris Mack, I'm like, oh my god, guys, we would destroy him. And again, these were Jay Wright's best teams of his career that were going up against Willard, and Willard won. You know, he got got one title over
Yeah.
us. And I feel like they always got bad draws in the tournament. Like like they always played Kansas or like
They were sent
UNC
out to
or
they were sent out to
like
like I think it was Utah to play Gonzaga once.
he had like
Something.
weird draws always. Not that that's like an excuse or anything, but like again, think about it. Like okay, Seton Hall's a tough job. They made the tournament more years than not.
Yeah.
And the other thing is like, are people not allowed to get better
To grow. Yeah.
over time? Like, I'm thinking of it. I'm like, okay, he's at Maryland. I only paid attention to them the last 2 years because we had a home and home with them. And the game at the Pavilion was probably the worst basketball game I've ever seen in my life and witnessed and actually sat through when it was just we were up big, but then like both teams just like stopped doing like Brian, that was that horrible game that you ended up sitting by yourself for, and we have photographic evidence of it. But we were up big and then just like neither team could score.
You're on mute.
My entire row left. I was the only one in a
Yeah.
12-seat row.
Oh, it was a horrible game.
I drove here. I'm here. And I was mad about that too because the only time I watched Maryland was the worst game I've ever seen.
Yeah,
And
so like
we won,
we
and
have
it was like, this is awful.
we have the bad taste in our mouth from that. But like I said, I haven't paid attention to them. I won't pay attention to them. I don't really watch other teams than Villanova. So we'll see what happens. Again, like he put up a good fight and he always had a good he always had like one or two like absolute killers on his team. So that's what more so I was looking forward to, like Mamu, his guards, Delgado, all these guys. Like he was pretty consistent in having like a killer point guard and a near unstoppable big man. So I'm really excited, hoping that he can continue to bring that trend. That also, we saw with Queen and Gillespie and Rice and all those guys that he had in Maryland this year. Like, let's see what he can do with Villanova recruiting resources.
He had 2016 had a 6 seed, 2017 a 9, 2018 a 8, 2019 a 10. 2020 would have been his best.
Yeah,
he didn't. They were on track for probably a top 4 seed, top 5 seed. COVID happened, and then 2022 was he? No, he wasn't there. 2022. Was he? The 2022 tournament, yeah, 23, 24, 25, yeah. So he was there 2022. Regardless, yeah, I think like I've liked the teams. Miles Powell is my favorite, like Big East player, like outside of Villanova players. Like
is Chris on the podcast?
He is. Yeah, so like he's found success. He found success in Maryland. I am excited at the very least things. It's a breath of fresh air. It's going to be different than the last 3 years.
It's not going to be worse.
yeah, it's going to be, and it's not going to be worse.
Hey, if our bottom, if our rock bottom over the last 3 years is a Final Four Saturday, then that's all I can say about that. We were playing basketball Final Four Saturday. Not many other teams can say that.
Not at all. And we're in Vegas now.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about Dixon hitting the record for a bit here?
Yeah, I know we talked about it on and off throughout the season. I look at it as kind of like a lifetime. Obviously, it's like a lifetime achievement award. Good for him. I'm happy for him. Nobody saw this coming. Like absolutely no. He averaged 3 points his freshman year. I think he was logjam behind JRE taking most of the minutes.
Even at the beginning of this season, like I wasn't expecting him to score 23 a game.
So I was I don't know about that, but it was like put on the radar like late in the offseason that like, hey, Dixon's like kind of close to top 10 in scoring, and then you're looking at it and like December comes around, I was like, oh no, he's gonna get it, isn't he? Like,
I mean, because he started off.
Well, he didn't play the first couple.
He didn't play the first couple of games.
Yeah.
And then I think his first game, he like put up in the first couple of games, he put up like 30 multiple times.
Yeah.
And that's where I was like, okay, well this might be this might happen.
Yeah, and he had an Instagram post today with like his kind of goodbye, I guess, to Villanova, which today's day and age, somebody staying somewhere for 2 years seems to be an anomaly.
Yeah.
He local guy who you never really know. It's funny, like he and Colin, like I remember when they committed, I was like, all right, it's a 3-star and a guy that just became a 3-star or whatever it was. Like they're locals, I get it. Jade throws them an offer. Maybe there'll be a guy off the bench that can contribute, and it's like, no, these are two of the most impactful. Um, Colin is a top like 5 guard in Villanova history. Eric has obviously just cemented himself in Villanova history. It's pretty crazy. 2022 Final Four, 3-time All Big East, All American this year. Men's leading scorer all time, passing Scotty Reynolds and Kerry Kittles in the last couple games. It's just not much more to say than
And just
that.
like there's the work ethic, there's the changing his body. Like we remember he was always very skilled, but like
He was big.
he was
freshman
bigger
year.
and like
Redshirt year with Caleb Daniels.
Yeah.
And the story always just was, they just work out for hours before every game,
Yeah.
and then go through the team warm up and everything. And
and
again, like big shots in that Final Four run. Like I think he hit the not the game winner, but like the sealer over Ohio State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be out of the post to him. Yeah. And but even from that player who was a good player to what he is now, like we're seeing, I mean, there's the guard skills, there's just a level of talent that like is
just doing stuff that I never thought, that kid who was redshirting in 2020, whatever year it was going to be doing.
Consistently he came, like you said, he came back every year. He could have left last year and gone.
He could have gotten a lot of money at any other college to go and play for them.
Literally any college in the country would be like, yes, come play. And he could still be playing today. Who knows? But he came back, just committed to the program, committed to the work. We also did him a favor, not a favor, but did him service by letting him play the 4 and getting Bocce to be obviously he still played the 5 at times, but giving him a big to play next to that allowed him to showcase these skills. And 9 times out of 10, the best chance we had at winning was to allow him to do his best stuff. I think we all saw at times where it's like, all right, maybe stop shooting the threes. The UCF game, hey, get in the post, Eric.
Oh my God.
But just an incredible talent. And yeah, obviously, Bit was here 6 years, all that different stuff. But at the end of the day, he put the points on the board, and that's just impressive and deserves to be commended for that.
Yeah, I think the big point. Yes, it was 6 years, but I think fewer minutes and fewer shots.
Yeah, which with the 3-point line makes sense.
Yeah, but Kerry Kittles had the 3-point line too. Scotty Reynolds had the 3-point line. Yeah,
different usages of it. But
I know.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to all the actuallys that we may or may not receive. So,
just fantastic for Eric. Happy for him. Just a fantastic human being, across the board. Nothing but good things to say about Eric. All right, do we want to hit a little ad read here? And
quick home field ad, and then we can talk a little bit about portal season.
Talk about the portal.
Yeah. All right. I guess I'll start.
I'm not saying anything, Trevor. You're doing this one.
Just trying to read the notes for a second. Yeah. Home field apparel. I know it's April and seasons are changing and everything, but there has been relatively new t-shirt and bomber jacket drops for Villanova. Anything you possibly need to rep your school or maybe another school. I know Willie is the proud new owner of a Tennessee Volunteer shooting jacket.
I gotta go get it.
It's an audio medium, so I'm not gonna anything you could possibly want from your school, your brother's school, your sister's school, family, friend's school, whatever, available at homefieldapparel.com. Use code Nova Insider for 15% off your first purchase. great stuff to make you catch a vibe like Willie is right now. And yeah, we'll see home field next year with hopefully even more new and improved and great apparel. So homefieldapparel.com, use code Nova Insider for 15% off your purchase.
I love this so much. It's got the big lady balls over here. I'm just such a fan of this. All right. Well, we can talk some Portal.
Yeah, so we said earlier we need a starting five,
Yeah,
essentially.
that's a good starting place. For anybody who isn't aware, Tommy Godin, friend of the program, has been doing essentially an interest tracker. So you can go to his Twitter at Tommy Godin Jr. to see some of these interest like that's the only way we're getting any any updates on this. Um, he's been posting a lot of players who we have expressed interest in. So the most recent one is Trey Holloman, who is Michigan State's point guard. He's the first one I've seen who's reportedly setting up a visit to Villanova,
Yes.
which is different. So this was Michigan State's starting point guard all season. Is setting a visit to us. He's the first one I've seen for that. Very talented. Was essentially he was the heart and soul of the team, stirred the drink, whatever you want to call it. For Michigan State, we expressed interest in Musa Diabate, who then an hour after Tommy tweeted that committed to Kentucky, so he's irrelevant.
Got the wrong Wildcats.
Yep. Let's see other ones that have popped up. Sean Phillips from Arizona State, who's the only person on this list I hadn't heard of ahead of time. I can't say I was watching that much Arizona State this year, but just another big 7-footer.
He looks like a he's think Bocce basically because I think he has the same numbers that Bocce had at Arizona State. 7-footer.
A big one that just came through, or not just came through, but this morning, Rob Wright from Baylor. First off, is a Philly kid, and just absolutely super talented. This came as a shock to Baylor fans. Like I think there's a lot of like hurt over there as well. They're expecting him to be back. This was a player who, once again, we're just talking about what they were coming into the year. There was talk of, is Rob Wright a one and done? Wasn't one and done, but had been had a very good year at Baylor. It's going to be one heck of a pull if we were able to get him. But he's going to we're going to be competing with the UNCs, the Dukes, the Kentuckys for Rob Wright.
UNC just lost their freshman point guard too. I think
I saw that.
I haven't seen anything at Villanova. Like, here's the thing about the portal. It's obviously there's hundreds and probably 1,000+ names in right now. And it's like, every time you see someone, it's like, you should come to Villanova. And it's like, yeah, I know we need players, but I have no idea who's actually getting, like, this is a lot like the coaching search where, coaches who maybe want interest from other programs and stuff have their agents say, well, Villanova is in discussions with, and so it's hard to gauge how accurate any of the stuff is until we start seeing some visits, or crystal balls even. We had a big day yesterday with some actual commitments.
2 commitments.
Malachi Palmer and Chris Jeffrey.
Both of them are Chris Jeffrey is a class of 2025, big guard. He's 6'5". In theory, is very athletic. The shot is still something that we need to figure out. But so no film on him. Malachi Palmer was on Maryland this year, was a freshman. I think back end.
Redshirted?
I don't know if he redshirted. He played.
Okay.
But I don't know if he played the less than 6 games, whatever the number is, and didn't average a point a game, nothing that crazy. Let me see. Played in 4 games. Oh no, 22. So he didn't redshirt. He played 2 minutes in the Sweet 16 game, 3, 9, back end rotation player. What did he do versus us? Actually, let's see if he played versus us, because 9 minutes, a bucket, hit a 3. Yeah,
he won the game against us.
That without his contribution, they don't win.
Yeah.
But so back end rotation player, but clearly good enough to get on the floor a little bit as on a Sweet 16 team. So there's definitely something. Kevin Willard clearly wanting him to come with him, has a plan for him as well. So those are 2 guards that we have. As of right now, we also haven't heard of anybody from us leaving outside of Nana Njoku, who's doing some visits. I know he went back and visited Delaware. I think I saw another one. But
Yeah, so players have a couple more weeks, I think, to make
yeah,
their decisions about entering the portal. Um, Obviously, we also had Dante Allen decommitted
yes,
with I don't think he said I'm definitely like there's no chance I go to Nova. I think it was just reopening his commitment and kind of seeing where
which is the
things went with
smart
the
thing to
coaching
do.
search.
Yeah,
Yeah, Chris talked about it at length about how like I think that was like a foregone conclusion almost when you commit to a coach and then that coach gets fired. Like,
yeah,
duh, you're going to reopen your recruitment and kind of take a look and see how things shake out before you decide just blindly to go somewhere. So that's something to monitor. I I don't really know. There's no real scoop or official word on who's leaning what direction on the current roster. Obviously, everybody except Sash was in Vegas. I think he was sick or he had an injury or something, and he didn't go with the team. I don't know if it's worth reading into that or not. Um, so returners right now are Perkins as a lone upperclassman
yeah.
at junior. Dumont is a redshirt
Mhm.
sophomore.
Yeah.
Chris Parker is a redshirt sophomore.
Mhm.
And then we have uh, Mosley, sophomore. Uh,
Hodge,
Sash
Sash,
would be a sophomore technically, but then Hodge and Malik Thomas are
Malcolm.
both redshirt. Malcolm are both redshirt freshmen, and I think that's it.
Yeah,
No recruits coming in. Yeah, Longino, Brickus, Dixon, Poplar, and O'Toole.
and
I think
Bachi.
O'Toole, Bocce are all moving on to graduation. So
Yeah.
we need a
So
lot of bodies.
gonna need a lot of bodies, and it's like one of those situations where you can't even really like get into like what are we expecting out of this roster right now because we don't know
No
how.
idea.
We just know we need
Don't even know
starters.
who's on the team right now.
Yeah, we know we need starters. We need minimum 5. I'm gonna assume we're gonna see 7 to 8 new players on this team.
We're
Uh,
replacing like probably 95% of our scoring.
almost.
Well,
Yeah,
that's I'm
it's
asking
essentially yeah,
how much do you
the
think
Perkins
Perkins
school.
accounted for?
Yeah, yeah, because it's really just like
Like,
Perkins.
yeah,
And then yeah, we'll see. We'll see what. I hope they stay. Like I'd love to see Hodge stay. See what he has. Here and there. I like Mosley a lot. I know he fell out of favor down the stretch. I don't know if he got hurt or anything like that,
I
but
don't
I
know
like
if it's even a favor thing or if it's just like we have to like when
the
you
rotation
know
tightened. But
the
yeah,
rotation tightens when you know you're about to get fired, and it's like, okay, it's not really time for me to give minutes to freshmen to develop. So I understand that, but yeah, we'll see. I don't have anything against anybody currently on the team or that would be returning from last year's team. It'll be interesting. Like it's a tricky situation with just how like how much damage the NIL era has done to high school recruiting.
mhm.
And that there's just you don't really you got to replace a whole team every year it seems because you're trying to get old quick and then you can't stay old quick,
I think
unfortunately.
this is a whole separate conversation. But I think it's actually super interesting how this is happening because every like all the good teams want to get old and stay old, so they're just going to keep taking transfers. And I think eventually what you're going to see is, and we're already starting to see it, the top 50 freshmen might still be able to get to like a high major program and crack a back into the rotation. And obviously, like, the top 10 are going to go play with minutes, top 20, whatever it may be. But we're just getting this stage where, like, I think we're going to see a lot more of these high major, like the top 100, top 150. Like, I'll use like Dante for an example. Probably like if he's coming out in this class, isn't going to Villanova, is now going to go play at a smaller school, and then hopefully still be who he is or was, and then get recruited up to a higher program. I just think it's going to create like an interesting like dynamic of the schools. This is completely just an aside.
Yeah, I mean, I still think that stinks for high school kids, but yeah.
I think I I don't know if it really will though, because it's just like, okay, yeah, you're not going to go play at UNC, but you'll go play at Charlotte, and you'll be the number 3 person on the team. You'll have more playing time, and then you'll get to UNC eventually. I just think it's a different path, like because
Yeah, so this is more of like a personal I just like
yeah,
hate
this
that
is
I hate that college basketball is becoming this.
yeah,
Nothing against players making money. I'm glad they are, but I just like I hate that you're getting a brand new 5 to 9 guys every year
yeah,
to add to your roster, and it's like I sound like old man yelling at cloud right now, or get off my lawn, but it's just I what happened to the beautiful game that I loved? That's all.
money,
Yeah.
money happened. Um, couple of just like other. I'm not. This is just more of a personal preference for me. There's a kid in the portal that I really like. Just like obviously, I haven't even heard our name attached to him. But Xavier Lee at Princeton, I think he's really, really good.
I saw
Um,
that.
and he's like incredibly talented with the ball. Can get downhill super fast, shoots like can shoot the lights out of the ball, scores like does it all, and it's kind of like he's 6'4", but he's kind of thin, very athletic. Um, would love to see him in a Wildcat uniform. I have no knowledge of anything. I don't think we've even reached out, so it probably won't even happen. I haven't seen any list of schools or anything attached to him, but I think he's been all Ivy the last 2 seasons. He's really good, really fun. Um, so that's just the name that I'd like to see. Um, we don't have a ridiculously big program today. I think we wanted to kind of get something in before uh,
Yeah,
the final.
apparently there's a game tonight.
Yeah,
Um,
which we want to talk about. I don't think I've been more shocked by a loss than that Duke loss. Not because they lost, but it was just how they lost up by 10 with like 2 minutes left or whatever it was. Um,
I didn't watch the game, but I did have Houston over Duke in that game
okay.
on my bracket, so I feel pretty good about that. I have Houston winning it all.
I had Duke
Um,
basically all season. I was like, they're just the
yeah.
best team in the country.
So
Uh,
so I my philosophy when I was picking my bracket, which did not do fantastic, frankly. I was like maybe 4 losses on the first day, and then it just went horrible from there. Um, I had Duke and Houston in that Final Four game, and then I had Michigan State and Maryland because I think when I was picking, I was like, well, if Maryland goes on a run, we probably won't hire Willard, and so I was trying to
kind
manifest a
of,
Willard run. But Kelvin Sampson's a really good coach,
yeah.
and when you talk about culture, like that Houston culture he has established is insane.
Did
Like,
you see the Twitter video thing from him of him?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
funny. I was watching that and I was like, that is exactly how I got severely concussed in 8th grade. Our coach ran that drill, and except he would clear the bench. If there was a loose ball, he would clear the bench, and anybody could come up with it. And I got wrecked one time, and I had to sit in a dark room for like 4 months, um, like very bad concussion. But I'm watching that drill, and I'm like, that's how it happens.
I wasn't even talking about that, which is another one. There's a
uh,
video of him from 2016 going around campus drumming up fan
oh,
support.
really?
Like he's like talking to students, like, I need you at the basketball games. I need you at the
Okay.
basketball games. Which like Houston, for anyone who doesn't know, like was a historical program, like
Yeah.
1983, Fly Savage Lama, Hakeem, Clyde, like all these players like were
I mean,
fantastic.
that's Jay Wright had to do that when he got to Nova.
Yeah. And he had to
That
do
was
that. And
2000, that was in early 2000s though.
yeah.
I'm kind of shocked that was 2016, but
Yeah, 2016, he was like
yeah.
going around campus doing it, and now we look at them; they are a basketball game away from being champions. Also, same as Florida. But yeah, there was a lot of conversation around like, oh, it was a bad tournament, it's a bad tournament. This is what happens when you get 4-1 seeds in the final. You get fantastic games. Like
Yeah.
this is what it is. Like there's not the UConn. I mean, I guess
So
Purdue was
I
also
think these bad meaning boring, like no
yeah, yeah,
crazy upsets or anything like that, which every now and then that happens, sure. Um I I think it also speaks a little bit to the arms race that's happening in the portal, in that the big time schools that can afford to, and the Dukes, the UNCs, the Kentucky, like the places that can get lottery pick freshmen are always going to be able to get lottery pick freshmen. But now you're seeing the opportunity of schools that, historically great, but down years here and there, like Houston and Florida and these places that have the money and the support and have a really good coach, they play really good basketball. But I think the 4 1 seeds in the Final Four is just like a testament to the arms race that's happening in the portal.
And I think also like this was madness in of itself. Like the last time 4 1 seeds were in the Final Four was what 2007, and so that's 18 years in between it. And like
Yeah.
we've seen two 16 seeds upset a 1 seed in the last in the last 8 seasons. So like in its own way, this was the madness. That the fact that we had all
Yeah.
the chalk. So yeah, we wanted to kind of wrap up before we get into that game. Any predictions on the game, Trevor? Just
I picked Houston, so
gonna stick with
I
Houston.
think Houston wins a rock fight.
I
I
don't
think
know
they're
why.
going to make it a rock fight, and I know that Florida guard is something special, but
Walter Clayton has been
yeah,
unreal.
yeah,
I'm just gonna pick Florida because you picked Houston. I don't
that's
really
fair.
know who I want to win. I'm fine with any of them. I think they're all really good teams. I kind of want to. I want to see Houston do it. They've like been so close. They've been
I
sneaked
want to
in.
see Houston win, yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll see. In a quick heart monitor, the Knicks played the Suns last night. I think it was last night,
Yeah, it was last night.
and Gillespie played like 16 or 18 minutes against Jalen, Josh, Mikhail, and I'm pretty sure he got a layup swatted into the stands. But
Yeah.
it was cool to see them all on the court together. That's always fun. Dante got in a really big fight the other week
Yeah,
and
got
stood on
it.
business. Trying to think who else. Chris Jenkins is suing the NCAA.
Big one. Big
And
one.
the house settlement. He opted out of the house settlement and filed a lawsuit on Saturday morning. We'll see what happens there. I
Yeah.
saw a few like
Currently,
high
there are
profile
65 lawsuits in the pipeline against the NCAA, similar to this one.
65 lawsuits.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
football and basketball, but same general idea.
I saw the LSU Jim Livy Dunn
Let me know.
also opted out and is suing, I think. So yeah, weird times in college sports. We'll see what happens there. Suing the NCAA and the Power 6 conferences, not Villanova specifically. So yeah, we'll see what happens there.
This is a message to the Phoenix Suns. Please release somebody from the team and sign Colin Gillespie to a standard NBA contract. Thank you. Did you see the whole thing with Jacoby Gillespie's reported $3 million and Collins?
Yeah. Oh my God, that's the craziest thing.
Yeah.
Frashilla, I think, tweeted that.
Yeah.
Frashilla had a tweet today that was Colin Gillespie, one of the best guards in college basketball in the last 10 years, is making $587,000 or something with the Suns this year. And like he was like hundreds of players in the portal are going to get that much. And it's so weird because the concept in and of itself is like these are all guys that if they were the best basketball players, they'd be going to the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, so you're paying more money than fringe and which should be rostered NBA guys are getting for people that are worse at it, but just are the right age. And it's just so weird to me. The whole, it's just crazy money.
Could you imagine the offers Colin Gillespie would have gotten after the injury year where he came back?
Yeah.
And he said like the offers he would have, if someone would have been like, here's $10 million. Like
if that was last year,
if that was last year,
yeah, that's the thing. Like early, he had a year or two of it, I think. A year of NIL.
I think it was a year of NIL.
Their 2022 season, I think, was the first year.
Yeah.
So we saw how crazy it was with the rumors for like what Justin Moore was getting offered from other schools and stuff like that. Like Hunter Dickinson getting whatever he got from Kansas. It's like you would absolutely rather have Colin Gillespie than Hunter Dickinson over whatever. So yeah, it's everybody born at the wrong time, I guess. I don't, it's crazy but the other thing is, if Colin was coming back and Jay Wright was his coach, he was not going anywhere.
Yeah. So that'll do it for us for today. We'll probably be a couple more episodes to wrap up the season. We'll do the 40s. when we get a team, we'll talk about the team.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think once the portal closes and we have a few more commits and certainty around who's on the roster, we'll be safer to talk about that because we know things can change.
And we'll hear what Kevin says about the process.
Yeah.
His official he's done some. He did a like media availability. So he did like have like a 30-minute conversation, but like there hasn't been like the big press conference that at least that I've seen. But
No, it should be sometime this week.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Cool. All right. Well, go watch some basketball, y'all. Like this is the last game. We're not gonna get past. I gotta say, just as an aside, the time between the fucking Final Four and the tip off of the season is too long. I don't know what I want us to do, but like it's too long without college basketball. At least we have a lot of drama to keep us interested throughout the year, or throughout the summer. All right. Well, that's all we really got. And as always, let's go Nova.
Championship!